With the end of season 1 of my Dress-Up Darlings anime, I bet a lot of people have some questions such as where's season 2, what happens in the manga, and where can I read the doujinshi? And for this one, I'm gonna be answering number 2. But if you want number 3, here's the sacred code. But first, let me talk about the anime. The anime covered chapters 1 to 39, and it was absolutely fantastic. I don't think I need to talk about the crazy good animation that this got and the insane amount of budget that went into her boob. But apart from that, the relationship that Gojo and Marin had was perfectly reflected instead of just farming the fanservice scenes and getting the viewership off that. It generally made the story very enjoyable. And also the flashback scenes that the director decided to add, more specifically when Gojo was a kid, generally makes you fall in love with Gojo so much more. I personally don't feel like I need to talk about this, but I'm just gonna mention it. Voice acting and OSTs were amazing. Like honestly, there wasn't any OSTs that I was really interested in until this series came out, and it was honestly amazing. Now, I've been seeing this for the last 3 months. A lot of people pass this series off as just fan service and hits, but those accusations usually come from people that haven't watched the anime or Attack on Titan and Demon Slayer fans. Hey, editing quick here. Instead of me just saying this, let me show you some proof. Meet Johnny spitting. Jojo profile picture, Attack on Titan banner. So yes, this is gonna go swimmingly. Now let's look through his tweets. Oh wow, it seems like he liked my Dress-Up Darling. Oh wait, 2 days before that he said, I saw someone on the timeline rate my Dress-Up Darling as a 10 out of 10 anime. Ain't no way, bro. Man, if irony could kill, this would be 3rd degree murder. But the most enjoyable parts about this series is the moments that the cosplays are done, which is the main concept of this series, and also the growth we see within Gojo, which is our main character. Now Cloverworks, as great as the studio it is, it's also known for its jobs such as Promised Neverland season 2, and that season was honestly a tragedy to watch. But as a fan of my Dress-Up Darling, even before it got an anime, and clearly during, because this is my 5th video on this I'm generally happy that Cloverworks was able to pull out Akebi-chan, which is also amazingly animated, and also my Dress-Up Darling, which was absolutely beautiful. Now again, it's also completely understandable that some things got cut out of the anime, but it generally made the pacing so much better to the point that there's no reason to complain about it or talk about it. And just as a side note, you can also see how big of an impact this series had in the advertisements that are posted all over Japan. And as someone that has never been to Japan, this is honestly really interesting to see. But you can also see the impact of this anime in the subreddit. And to be more specific on how fast it grew. Before the anime, it had 6,320 people in the subreddit, and after the anime, it had over 30,000. So yes, it was pretty damn good. Now, if you're looking for a romance series that is similar to my Dress-Up Darling, Shikimoris Not Just a Cutie is releasing this next season, and I think it has somewhat similar aspects when it comes to the romance. It will 100% be much more basic, and it won't have the side plot of cosplay in the series. But give it a chance, the trailers and the manga look pretty good. So now let's get to the manga. To not waste your time, in case you haven't read the rest of the manga, the anime ended on chapter 39, so you can start reading on chapter 40. Now off the bat, in season 2, whenever it comes out, you're gonna get introduced to this character called Himeno. And personally, Himeno is my favorite character simply because A, she's a trap, and I'm not joking about this is dead serious. And also Himeno has literally the best backstory out of any character in the whole series that you have seen so far. In chapter 46, the people that only watch the series for the fan service are gonna absolutely love it, because in classic Haruhi Suzumiya style, you're gonna see Marin in a bunny suit cosplay, which realistically this was gonna happen one way or another. And these set of chapters are actually my favorite out of the whole series simply because you get to explore more about Marin's friends. And Marin's friends unironically have the funniest personalities in the whole series. And no, before you say, it's not because Gojo gets his own harem in chapter 55 for a little bit, but it's generally because this is the first time we actually get to explore the classmates, apart from Gojo and Marin kind of being the outsiders to that class, just exploring the world of cosplay. Now throughout the manga, there's also a cultural festival arc, which again, this arc is my favorite of the whole series because we get to explore more about the classmates, and the classmates actually learn a lot more about Gojo, so Gojo's not just a complete outsider, he's now becoming more comfortable with other people in his class. And just for an example, in chapter 61, just look at this panel, he's an absolute badass in this chapter, because in the cultural festival, there was this activity where a girl had to dress up as a boy, and a boy had to dress up as a girl, and it was basically a competition between each class. Marin decided to volunteer as a boy of the class, and she wanted to do it by cosplaying Rei-sama, which is pretty similar to a character from Oran High School Host Club. And Gojo was the one in charge of making the cosplay, and in chapter 63, they won. And then after that, we got a mini arc of Marin being fat. I'm not joking, I'm dead serious. And in this mini arc, Marin gets her DSLR camera, which I think she mentions in episode 12. And Gojo meets this character called Akira-san at the end of chapter 68, which is basically a cosplayer that comes up with her own characters. And after so long, in chapter 72, Juju comes back. And the arc that we're in right now doesn't really have a name right now, but is mostly known as a Coffin meetup arc. For the anime onlys, I'm gonna tell you right now, I personally think you should read the manga from the beginning. Yes, the fan service is even worse than you expect it to be, because in the anime they toned it down quite a bit, but there's some educative stuff that you might have missed, and wasn't exactly in the anime for good reasons. However, if you do not care for these aspects of the story, go to chapter 40 and you're good from there. Now, as far as my predictions for a season 2, it's 100% gonna happen due to the numbers that it got and the sales that it got. But I personally think that we have to wait around 2 more arcs to be able to get a season 2, because there really isn't enough content to make a proper season that has the same quality that season 1 had. But realistically, we're gonna have to wait 2 or 3 months for there to be enough content for a season 2, but the official announcement can come anytime after that. But the manga and merchandise sales are way too high hyped to the point that they don't want to miss out on this opportunity to have a season 2 of this series. So no, we're not gonna get no game, no life on this one. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about my Dress-Up Darling. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you an Attack on Titan viewer that absolutely despises it because it beat you in one little poll 7-3? And yeah, deuces!